This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. Have you found yourself just kind of complacent, maybe a little stuck? Here we are, change of season coming very soon. And for many of us, we look at that as an opportunity. I'm going to put the summer in the rear view and now get back to work. You know, a lot of us get that lazy summer feeling. So here we are, got a brand new season coming, brand new month, and nothing's happening because something is holding us back. What is actually holding us back? There's many different things, but how do we overcome that? Do we have balance in our life? Are we trusting the process? Are we ready for a transformation? Yes, you are. And we're going to talk about that today with somebody who harnesses the tools to help you with that. A lot of us gets back to yoga, which I've never done. It's always been on my radar. Going to learn more, as we all are. Dawn Cannon joins us today on the program. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
I'm happy you're here. There's lots to talk about. And I'm seeing things come a little clearer for me. You know, yoga, I haven't done it. I have friends that do. I understand it to a point, but a lot of what comes from yoga, whether we do it or not, those little pieces, the breath work, the meditation, we don't need yoga. It's a good thing, but we can practice all of those things separately to move our life forward, right?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of just trying lots of different things and figuring out the thing that helps you. For me, yoga was a big part of my journey. The movement part of yoga was. But for others, it can be just breath work, it can be hiking in nature. It's those things that bring us back home to us.
Okay, so thank you for saying that. So yoga is essentially bringing us back home, reconnecting with our inner self. Is that what's going on there?
Yeah. I think our world really praises that busyness. We're all chasing something, whatever it is, the next thing that's going to make us happy, I guess. And we get so busy, I think we lose connection with ourselves. We lose connection with our deep feelings, that kind of thing. We're constantly running off to the next thing. A big part of what I coach is giving yourself the gift of rest. It sounds counterintuitive, but I have found rest is the essential ingredient for me to do more, to really rise up and not have to work so hard, but accomplish more.
There's a reason for everything. And I believe you're here today to say that to me as a reminder. It was about a year ago. I would talk to friends. It'd be on a Saturday or Sunday. They'd be laying in bed. I'm like, hey, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. You just wasted what are you doing? I didn't get it until I started doing it. And then I would intentionally pick Saturday or Sunday, stay in bed a little bit later, maybe DoorDash, breakfast sandwich and a coffee. So I'm, treat myself a little bit there for $20. And then I had that realization that doing nothing is doing something because you're recharging and refocusing your mind, your body, so that you have more fuel in your tank to do more once you're done resting. So I get that. And it's been, honestly, I'm going to say here, and I'm glad you even said it, it's been a busy summer. Like the last 3 weeks, I've been like nonstop, and it's all good. Like something comes up, hey, you want to do this? Let's do it. Let's do it. So it's going to be 20 degrees out soon enough here in the Northeast, but I'm feeling a pull to stop. Stop. Like I just got a text from somebody, and it was like, hey, you want to go to see this band this weekend? At a outdoor venue, and I'm like, I don't know. Normally I would say yes, but I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I need a moment and basically to reconnect with myself.
Yeah. I think those moments we feel called to, it is that like inner wisdom that's sort of asking us to slow down and listen a little bit. But you have to be willing to slow down enough to even hear that inner voice.
Well, then there's that. And there's that. And we could talk, we could fill 3 podcasts alone on intuition, but you're not going to hear your intuition or even act on it when you got all this other stuff going on. That's just, taking, it's the noise. It's the noise. You got to quiet the noise. Yep. So with yoga, and I get the principles, and we'll get to that, be it breath work and meditation. What's going on with the movement? And I know, a lot of us look at, movies, TV, whatever it might be, people in certain poses, and they say, oh, I can't do that. I'm not that mobile. I don't have that dexterity and all of that. Why are we moving? Why do you have to move in yoga? Is that forcing you to connect with yourself?
So each pose has sort of a special magic behind it. Like getting your body into a certain shape is known to either focus attention, bring up certain feelings. If you really got into the depths of yoga, there's many, many lines of yoga. Some of them are about perfecting form. Many of them are just about learning to come home to you. I think we're all called to different paths. I started my yoga journey with hot yoga. I now actually I practice hot yoga maybe once or twice a year. But hot yoga is all about like focus, burn, kind of cranking up that inner fire to burn away the stuff that's getting in your way. Whereas nowadays I tend to teach more gentle hatha yoga, which is inviting all of my students to come in and just notice what's going on in your body. Our bodies are meant to give us signals and tell us the next step, tell us what's aligned, what's not. But we lose connection. This busy world sort of encourages us to push it aside. Take when you're, on a big corporate project trying to meet an objective, you run at it. And you run at it a lot of times at the expense of noticing what's going on in your body with stress and all that kind of stuff. Where yoga is inviting us to put our bodies in certain shapes and really just notice today what sensations are there. When I, tune into my heart, what does my heart feel in class? So really, we're just moving as a way to become more aware of our bodies.
What's up with the poses? Like you said, there's certain ones, and I guess they have certain meanings, intention. Yep. Go on. I'm going to say it right now. I don't get it. I get all the other stuff. I get, why it's important to connect within the breathing, meditation. I finally am at a point now where, after years, where I feel like I'm meditating and I can do it. I could stare at, a spot on the wall right now and I'm out of here.
Yep.
and it's great. The poses enlighten us. I'm not getting it.
So I will say, if you're doing meditation, you are doing yoga. Here in the Western world, we tend to think of yoga as just the movement part.
Yeah.
But all of the poses were actually meant to prepare our bodies for meditation. They were meant to get us in a state where we could relax enough to not be, so uncomfortable in your low back or whatever as you're sitting in meditation that didn't distract you. It's also true, though, all the poses have meanings. Many of them have like a Hindu story behind them of how it came to be. And so there's energy tied to that, like heart opening poses, where you put your hands behind your back, really peel your chest open wide, is meant to kind of invite in all those feelings. But more than anything, the whole purpose of movement in a yoga practice was to prepare your body to be able to sit or lie down in meditation without pain, without discomfort, and really stretch you so that your breath could get all the way through the body. Because often when we're in those states of stress, we're just breathing up here. We're not getting breath all the way down into our lungs. And when you're not getting breath all the way down into your lungs, your body does tend to have that feeling of being on edge.
Yes, it does. And we don't even realize it. You look at, Asian cultures, they deep breathe all the time. We, in the US, we're short breaths. Quick, crazy, ridiculous story. This is going back like 10 years. My friend's son was renovating a deck for me. And, like much younger than me. And we're just talking and we're talking. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm tired. So what is going on? After a little bit of conversation and discovery, we both realized we weren't breathing. I know it sounds ridiculous.
No.
But we realized it, and I always go back to that moment where I'm like, I'm tired today. You're not breathing. Why? Yeah. Because you have so many different things going on. If you just take that time to just intentionally deep breath, take another one, let it out. You don't even have to, do the box breathe or anything like that to breathe.
Yep. Just breathe. Yeah.
Game changer. And it now it always makes sense. Those things that we said, take a deep breath. You hear that as a kid, like, shut up, mom. Like, why?
That's right.
It's real. It does. It's scientifically proven. It changes everything. It's like a reset button in your body.
When I was in the corporate world, I used to have to speak at home improvement trade shows on occasion. And I hated public speaking, especially in a room full of people that are going to be looking at you. And what I realized I hated was that feeling that rises up in your body when you start breathing really shallow. And I was working with a coach at the time who encouraged me at the beginning of my presentation to put a short, funny video, like a Seinfeld clip or something about my topic. But the short, funny video was my minute or 30 seconds to actually take several deep breaths. And then I would reset myself, and then I could start to do my presentation without that feeling of like, it's sort of a feeling of panic when we breathe really shallow. It is a feeling of panic when we breathe shallow.
I got you on that. So let me make sure I have that clear. So you created a video to play at the beginning of the presentation, almost to kind of reset you?
Yes. And in this case, the one I'm remembering was I was speaking to them about customer service skills. And so I put a funny Seinfeld clip of like an example of a horrible customer experience.
Love it.
My audience is all laughing, takes the pressure off me, and I got to take a couple of deep breaths.
Wow, that is fantastic. That is such a great idea. Interesting. I'm in a men's group in about a year and a half now. Very impactful. We support each other, but it's also about community service and leadership. Got a meeting tonight, weekly meeting. And when we first meet, we check in with each other. But you know what we do right after that? We do what we call an out of head. And we give it 7 minutes. And it could be anything. We go and play touch football. We could play Uno. We could play Cards Against Humanity. We could just like silly, spot the lie. Make 3 statements. Somebody's got to, spot which one is not truthful, just to break it up, to get you out of that mode. But I love your video idea, and it's the video idea can even, now I'm going a little deeper, but that 30-second whatever video, you can even start the presentation referring back to it. See that customer there that did that?
That's what I did. Yep.
You never want to do that. And here's why. And who remembers Seinfeld, everybody? Who are these people? It lightens it up. But I know that feeling, like when you're about to do something uncomfortable, speak, even if it's a presentation for 3 people in a room, that feeling of just like indigestion, reflux, that feeling. I totally get you on that, but I never connected that. It's probably from shallow breathing.
Yeah. Taking, or no matter what it is, it can be your thoughts causing it or whatever, but deep breaths really bring us back into our body and lets our body give us that kind of natural reset.
Is that essentially the breathing thing? And we're going to talk about grounding in a moment, but are we essentially grounding ourselves?
Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. You're grounding yourself back in your body, making it, I think our nervous systems kind of drive everything for us. We don't see it often, but it's why when you experience big traumas or different things that have affected your nervous system pretty boldly, that life gets really off course. And to me, I don't think there's any one path to get that back on course. I teach about yoga, breath work, all those things, but I think all of us are called in different ways to find ways to calm our nervous system. And the more control you get over your nervous system, which means you have to first learn how it works, but the more you start to realize how your own nervous system works, what tools work for you, it becomes a game changer, because you kind of find the magic button of, oh, it's really just about regulating my own nervous system. I always think it's those people out there, but it's more about regulating myself.
And everybody is different. We've all had different experiences. What works for you might not work for me, but finding it. And by the way, I'm curling my little hairy toes right now on a grounding mat that's attached to the ground lug on the electrical outlet. I'm serious. $20, Amazon, just one way. Why do we need to be grounded? What's going on there?
I think for me, it's the difference of being in your head or in your body. And I lived most of my life in my head. I, you can blame childhood trauma, lots of different things. But I found that intellectualizing life, I did really well. Or I thought I did. I told myself stories that I did. But really, I was just powering through life, outthinking a lot of things. And I have a pretty powerful brain. So it got me far. But when we ground and we come into our bodies, there's a whole other system takes over that, like, I would say, like, I know the difference between right and wrong. Sure, intellectually I know that, but for example, when I meet people, I instantly, my body gives me a feeling of, is this a person I would want to engage with or not? That, to me, grounding is all about getting enough in your body for that intuition to kind of come online.
Never thought of it that way. And I'm a big proponent of intuition, and
Yep.
understanding it. And where do I come from in saying that? Because reverse engineering it, all the times that I ignored my intuition wasn't the best outcome. And I
Yeah.
know it. I can go back 30 years. I can tell you where I was, what I was doing, where I ignored it. Probably wouldn't have if I understand grounding and being grounded.
Yeah.
Um, Wow, I never thought of it that way. That just is kind of like the door opener to all this other stuff once you are grounded.
Yeah,
So
and
let's
I
talk.
my brain is then my friend when I'm grounded. It's just when I'm not in my body, sometimes it's going to run off and do its own stressful thing.
Well, let's talk about that. Ways to be grounded. Grounding mat is one of them, $20 on Amazon, but simple as just taking a walk outside, right?
Yeah. A lot of times it's doing little things to disrupt when we get ungrounded. And I think that's the biggest key is getting to know yourself well enough to know when you're ungrounded, like recognizing it. That's hard if you live in that state of go 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 because we're constantly pushing through all those signals that might say we're ungrounded. But once you get to know yourself and know when you're ungrounded, then a lot of times it's little tools that are the most useful. I always, when I was working in the corporate world and worked lots of hours, I always used my drive to and from work as like grounding time. I did breath work. Sometimes I would just sing in the car. You don't want to hear me sing. But it was my moment of just doing something that kind of got that heavy energy out of me, let me settle, and then move to the next thing.
Eye opener here because I didn't even realize this singing in the car is grounding us.
Yeah. It's one of those, our voice is powerful. So anything you do to kind of tune into, there's a whole line of yoga that gets into lots of chanting and stuff that's all about using your voice in a certain way to manage your energy. If you want to get really, really woo. um, or an everyday practice could just be singing in the car, singing, belting out your favorite song that makes your body feel good. Afterwards, I find you kind of have released some heavy energy. If you bring in some empowering songs that make you feel good, it is all about coming home, being in your body.
Hmm. I've never saw it that way. For me, I'm thinking of the traditional ones, being outside, yes, hugging a tree. There's been times where
Yep.
I've left here and looked forward to just touching that tree that's next to my driveway.
Yep.
And call it woo, call it whatever you want. But let's look at it this way. It's energy. This is how I look at it. Bolt of lightning comes out of the sky, massive amounts of energy. Once again, energy. Where does it want to go? What's it looking for?
The
Ground.
ground.
It's where
Yeah.
it's going. So we are energy. What are we looking for? To be grounded.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Walking outside, having my bare feet in the grass is a huge one for me. And I don't have to go, I have friends who hike barefoot. I admire it. I don't think I want my feet to get to that state that they would need to for that to be comfortable. But just walking outside, letting my bare feet be on the ground can be only takes 30 seconds and all of a sudden I'm back grounded again.
So to illustrate your point, I I sold a house 3 years ago. I'm in between. I'm in the New York area, just not the best time to buy a house, and not really sure what I want to do. I put an offer on one. I'm like, all right, I'll tap the brakes a little bit. But in the house that I sold, I renovated the backyard, did a lot of the landscaping myself. I would walk around barefoot all
Yeah.
the time.
Yep.
And I didn't realize what was going on there. And this is only, 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I was doing this. I didn't realize what I was doing and why it felt so good. And
Yeah.
just, I feel like I'm accomplishing something, trimming bushes, and I was very meticulous. I wanted it to look a certain way and get my hands in the dirt and all of that. Like I would even look if I'm coming home today and I'm gonna tackle that over there. I
Yep.
didn't realize what the benefit therapy I was in therapy every day. I was
Yes.
walking with dirty feet. You don't know it until you know it. But once you start paying attention to this stuff, you got me on the singing thing, singing a certain song or just music in general, whether it's intentional of the lyrics or not,
Yep.
it's still a release of energy.
Yes. And
Wow.
I honestly think we can make almost anything a grounding practice, whether it's holding a warm cup of tea in our hands or coffee, if that's your preferred drink. Breath
Mm.
work, most certainly, journaling, for all different things. There's probably even some almost unhealthy habits you could turn into, eating chocolate. Most could be grounding. If you ate one small piece of chocolate and like let it melt in your mouth and really notice every moment of it, it's all about just sort of that, like, getting into that state where you can truly be aware of what's going on. You're not go, 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 pushing away.
Interesting. Even the coffee thing. Like I pick up my cup of coffee every day.
Yep.
It's depending on where I go, it could be $3.25. I view it as a treat for me. I do decaf, not about the caffeine,
Yep.
but to your point here, I find it's my little give back to me, and I get an extra, super extra large, can last like most of the day. But
Yep.
whenever I sip it, I feel like I'm touching home base in a
That's
weird
exactly what I mean by grounding.
in a
That's
weird
like a
way.
coming home to you. Yep.
Right. And I don't just like I'm intentionally, that was really good. That, it's a little warm, a
Yep.
little bit of flavor there. I'm hydrating, so I'm doing something for myself. Plus, $3, a little gift to me. Um, Very interesting. Seeing this in all different lights here, Dawn. Wow. Um, and we're just scraping the surface in terms of what you offer. You can help coach people and move their lives forward and
Yep.
help them find that balance through grounding and so much more. Lots to talk about in the future when we get together. But how do we connect with you? If somebody's just looking to even start a conversation on this, how do they find you?
The best way to find me is on my website, which is www.the-creatrix, creatrix.net. And there it has my email address, has a way to sign up for my newsletter. My newsletter is the best way to stay updated on all the different things I have going on. But that is the best way to find me.
Awesome talking with you today. I really mean that. Like I'm seeing it, I've been studying this, doing podcasts on this for years. This is a different view of it and some validation of things I wondered, and probably all of us. You know, I do have friends that call me a tree hugger, and I accept that very well.
Well, when we started this conversation, you said you'd never done yoga, but you admitted that you meditate all the time. So I'm going to encourage you to change your words that you actually do practice yoga.
Now I know.
And now you
Now I
can
know.
educate everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here today, and looking forward next time we get together.
That sounds great. Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.